Chances are you've probably never heard of Straftat. It wasn't made by a large development company, it only has a couple hundred active players, and from what I could tell, the game has virtually no marketing budget whatsoever. On the surface, it appears as though it's just another janky indie game, and from the outside looking in, you would be right. Your first couple of matches kind of feel like a knife fight and a bounce house. It's weird, it's strange, and if you're someone who only really enjoys super realistic tactical shooters, I can totally understand why that stuff might make you turn away. But after several hours of playing this game, and several hours of being really bad at this game, something clicked with me. You see, Straftat isn't just a chaotic arcade shooter. In fact, it might just be the most creative and addictive FPS that I've played in years, and it definitely deserves your attention. Straftat was originally released in October of last year by the ever-talented Lemaitre brothers. Originally packaged as a 1v1 arena shooter, a place where you could duel it out mano a mano, has now developed into something more, allowing up to 4 players into a game at once. Now, the rules of this game are simple. Each match takes place across a handful of small, tightly designed stages. There is no timer, there are no zones to hold, and there are no objectives that you have to juggle. Just one rule: the first player to 2 kills wins. Oh no. He's like a fucking rat. He's too goddamn slippery. Oh my god. Holy shit. He cut my ass.
Bonk his ass, dude. Oh! Oh! No! This is the first-person shooter version of fucking Beyblade.
God, motherfucking damn it.
You're a bitch, and I hate you.
Oh, you're shitting me. Fucking quit with it, son. I'm about to hit you with the fucking Isaac Morgan special, bulldog. Now, just in case you couldn't tell through that footage, movement is everything in Straftat. It's the beating heart of the entire experience. Imagine if Ultra Kill and Counter-Strike Surfing had a baby and then raised it on a steady diet of cocaine and creatine. The movement here is incredibly difficult to master, but once you start to get the hang of it, it's insanely satisfying. Players can wall jump, slide, and parkour their way around every inch of the map, and once you start becoming familiar with each level, you'll actually begin to implement different strategies to take out your opponents. So the game actually rewards players for being curious and messing around in the game. Some of the weapons like the baseball bat and rocket launcher open up new ways for players to move around too, making every map that you encounter a lot more dynamic. For instance, on your first run, you might ignore these giant pillars, but once you learn about the rocket jumping mechanic, it opens up a whole other realm for you to take advantage of. I always really appreciate it when a game encourages you to just fuck around and find new ways of playing the game. I feel like it's something that a lot of AAA developers have largely forgotten about. It feels like anymore all of the popular multiplayer shooters have this meta, and if you don't follow it to a T, then you're inherently putting yourself at a massive disadvantage. You have to play these games in a very specific way, and if you don't, you lose. But with Straftat, most of the rounds are just pure chaos. There is no meta, and the only way that you can really get better at the game is through trial and error. You'll naturally stumble across different strategies just by playing the game, and personally, I think that that's pretty cool. This sort of fast-paced gameplay is perfectly complemented by the game's maps, too. The level design in Straftat is straight up surreal. It almost feels as if the entire world was constructed solely for you to fight in. Like some divine architect designed a dreamscape made out of brutalist architecture and weird liminal spaces. Each map feels visually distinct, but there's a shared atmosphere that ties all of them together. An eerie sense of emptiness. A feeling that you're somewhere that you shouldn't be. Like these places all once had purpose, but now all they exist for is violence. This same vibe is present in another Lemaitre brother project called Bobdy, a bizarre exploration game that drops you into a decaying city with your only goal being to escape it. Both of these games make you feel isolated, like you're the last person online in a game that had been forgotten long ago. and that's completely intentional. When questioned about their design philosophy, this is what one of the brothers had to say. Quote, "To me, the most important part of a scene is the overall atmosphere, mood, and concept. It is, in my opinion, unnecessary to texture every bit of an environment. There's a poetic dimension in rough and blurry low-poly visuals, similar to that of impressionist brushstrokes. I think that too many details in a scene will lessen your interest for it. When the details are scarce, the eye will be craving them, and this induces exploration." So, in other words, this emptiness isn't a flaw, it's the entire point. And if you think that's kind of silly or stupid and you get tired of a particular map, don't worry, because Straftat has over 100 maps, many of which have alternate nighttime versions that totally change the feel of what you're playing. Some of these maps are just straight up wacky too, to the point where they feel a lot more like Mario Party minigames rather than actual death matches. So even if you're not a competitive FPS god, there's still a lot of stuff here for you to enjoy. Better yet, the game lets you build your own custom playlists, so if there's a map that you absolutely suck at, you can just take it out. My friends and I have made a playlist for a lot of the party game styled maps, because I'm not really good at the regular ones, and I've been enjoying that a lot lately. But there are also maps that are better for long range, or for melee, so you really have no limit of options when it comes to maps here. But now, let's talk about the game's vibe, because Straftat's aesthetic is just as distinct as its gameplay. The game's UI and menus both have this really gross, pulsating, mechanical vibe to them. And while it is a really weird, bold choice, I think it's a welcome break from the sanitized, minimalistic designs that we've been seeing for the past decade. The character models are freakish in the best kind of way too. They're low poly, heavily stylized, and weirdly memorable. The same sort of thing goes for the game's weapons as well. I think it's important to note here that none of this was designed to look realistic or high fidelity, because this game wasn't meant to be pretty. It was meant to be fun. Now, earlier in this video, I mentioned that Straftat is simple, but don't confuse simplicity with shallowness, because once you start playing this game, it becomes very hard to stop. You spawn in, you die, you respawn, you get a kill, you die again. You might overshoot a rocket jump and launch yourself off the fucking map, but you laugh and load back in. Maybe you have a friend that's really good at the game and has been playing it a lot longer than you have, and this friend is kicking your ass over and over and over again. But it doesn't really matter because that rematch button is just a click away. This is the kind of game that worms its way into your brain, not because it's perfectly balanced or polished, but because every round feels like a story that you'll get to tell later. Sure, it's chaotic and messy, but somehow that makes it feel more alive than 90% of the garbage getting shoveled out by big studios. And here's the part that really gets me, right? Straftat feels like a game. There is no dopamine drip progression system. There is no currency that you have to grind. All there is movement, maps, weapons, and skill. It's a game that actually trusts you to figure things out on your own. It doesn't treat you like a child, and it's not trying to steal your money. And I think that in the modern landscape of games today, that's kind of beautiful. So much anymore, I feel like most AAA shooters feel less like games and more like corporate cash grabs. Sure, they might have these massive budgets or development teams, but they fail to deliver on the most basic of promises. They can't make a fun video game. The FPS genre used to be filled with games that adamantly went against the grain. They challenged the status quo of what games should offer, but now it feels like that history's been lost. Most of everything that I've seen in the space has just copied the Fortnite formula and has been pasteurized in an effort to appeal to everyone. And in doing this, a lot of these companies have lost their edge. And I suppose that that's the real reason why I enjoy Straftat so much. It's itself. Is it weird? Yeah. Is it rough around the edges? For sure. But at least it's not trying to be something that it's not. These developers have an uncompromising vision of what they want their game to be. And in a generation of soulless shooter games, I find that really inspiring. So please, by all means, if you have the time, give Straftat a shot. The best part of this game is that it is completely free, and I think that the developers here are really talented, so please go and show those guys some love. enough. I've had more fun with this game in the past week than I've had with COD in the past couple of years, and it deserves way more attention than it's been getting. So I'll leave a link to the Steam page down below. Also, I just wanted to give a huge thank you to all of my channel members and patrons. Without getting too lost in the specifics, I just wanted you all to know that your support has been helping me out a ton lately, and I'm very grateful for all of your contributions to this channel. But with that being said, as always, thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch today's video. You know I love you. I'm out.